Small group of nomadic warriors, eking out a life on the borderlands of collapsing empires, rise to forge one of the greatest empires in history. To find the answer, we must return to the rugged hills and plains of Anatolia, a land of dust, steel, and dreams. And to a man whose vision would change the world forever, Osman. The late 13th century was a time of upheaval. The Seljuk Sultanate of Rum, once the dominant power in Anatolia, had fractured under the pressure of Mongol invasions, internal strife, and dying leadership. Across the region, small principalities called beyliks jostled for land, wealth, and influence. To the north lay the Byzantine Empire, a shadow of its former glory, struggling to maintain control over its western Anatolian territories. Its cities, fortresses, and trade routes were isolated islands in a sea of Turkish raiders and wandering tribes. Into this chaotic world came Osman, born around 1258 into the K tribe, a branch of the larger Oghuz Turks. His father, Ertuğrul, was a respected chieftain, guiding the tribe as they migrated westward into the borderlands of the Byzantine Empire. Osman grew up amid the clash of civilizations where swords and faith determined survival, and where the ambitious could rise quickly if they were bold enough. Osman's life is wrapped in legend as much as history. From a young age, he demonstrated courage, wisdom, and a sense of justice that earned him loyalty from warriors and subjects alike. One of the most famous stories about him is the dream of Osman. As he slept, he dreamed of a tree growing from his chest, its branches stretching across the world and providing shelter to all peoples. His advisors interpreted this as a prophecy that Osman's lineage would build a mighty empire. This dream, whether literal or symbolic, inspired Osman and his followers. It became a guiding vision, a blend of faith, destiny, and ambition. For Osman, leadership was not just about plunder or survival, it was about creating something that could endure long after he was gone. Around the 1280s, Osman inherited leadership of the K tribe. At this time, the Byzantine Empire was weak but still formidable, with fortified towns and loyal garrisons. Osman's first campaigns were raids small at first, testing his soldiers and gauging Byzantine defenses. His first major victory came at the Battle of Bapheus, 1302. Against larger Byzantine forces, Osman's strategic brilliance and the ferocity of his warriors secured a decisive win. This battle was more than a military success, it announced Osman's rise as a leader to be reckoned with. Soon after, he captured key territories including Karacahisar and Yenişehir, establishing administrative centers that would serve as the foundations of the Ottoman state. These early victories earned him followers, warriors, artisans, and administrators who would help transform a frontier tribe into a nascent empire. What set Osman apart was not only his skill in battle but his leadership style. Unlike many rulers of the time, he combined tribal traditions with the principles of Islamic governance. Loyalty was rewarded, justice was valued, and even conquered populations were often integrated rather than slaughtered. This approach created stability in newly acquired territories and attracted more warriors to his banner. Osman's principality grew not just through conquest, but through alliances, marriages, and diplomacy. Neighboring beyliks watched warily as the once small K tribe transformed into a power capable of reshaping the region. Faith played a central role in Osman's rise. As a Ghazi, a warrior for Islam, he led campaigns framed as holy struggles against non-Muslim territories, especially along the Byzantine frontier. Yet, Osman also understood pragmatism. He maintained relations with Christian communities in conquered lands, ensuring that trade, taxes, and governance continued smoothly. This combination of faith and pragmatism became a hallmark of Ottoman rule for centuries. Osman's vision was not merely to conquer, but to build a state that could endure, a state where religion, law, and culture blended to create cohesion among diverse peoples. By the time of Osman's death around 1323–1324, the foundations of an empire had been laid. What began as a small frontier tribe had become a principality with administrative centers, loyal warriors, and a growing network of alliances. Osman had transformed the K tribe into a state with the potential for greatness, a state that his descendants would expand into a global empire spanning 3 continents. It is said that even after his death, Osman's name inspired awe. His dream of a great tree stretching across the world seemed prophetic. And indeed, within a century, his successors would march on Bursa, conquer more Byzantine territories, and eventually, centuries later, lay siege to Constantinople itself. From the dusty plains of Anatolia to the walls of Byzantine forts, Osman's vision took root. A dream whispered in the night grew into the roar of armies and the clang of swords. What began as a small tribe of wandering warriors became the Ottoman Empire, an empire that would endure for over 6 centuries, shaping the course of Europe, Asia, and Africa. And it all began with Osman, a man, a dream, and the courage to rise from obscurity. When Osman I passed away around 1323-1324, the K tribe faced a crucial moment. Many small beyliks had risen and fallen in Anatolia, swallowed by rivalries or Mongol raids. Yet Osman's vision endured through his son, Orhan, who inherited not just a principality, but a legacy of ambition, discipline, and faith. Orhan was more than a successor, he was a strategist, a statesman, and a conqueror. While Osman had laid the foundations, Orhan built the structure of a state. The Ottoman polity began to shift from a tribal confederation into a centralized administration capable of governing newly conquered lands. One of Orhan's earliest acts was to establish Bursa as the new administrative capital. This city became the heart of Ottoman power in northwestern Anatolia. Bursa's capture in 1326 was symbolic. It marked the first major victory over Byzantine territory and gave the Ottomans control of a key trade route between Anatolia and Europe. From Bursa, Orhan expanded the frontier further west into Byzantine lands. Small forts and towns were seized, and local populations were integrated through a combination of taxation, governance, and military service. Unlike many conquerors of the time, Orhan often allowed local elites to maintain their positions under Ottoman authority, fostering loyalty and reducing rebellion. Orhan also created one of the most important military innovations in Ottoman history, the Devshirme system, though it would be fully developed under later sultans. Young Christian boys were recruited from conquered territories, converted to Islam, and trained as elite soldiers known as Janissaries. This created a loyal, professional military force that would secure Ottoman power for centuries. At the same time, cavalry warriors and ghazis continued to play a crucial role. Osman's tradition of frontier raiding persisted, but it was now complemented by disciplined troops and organized fortifications. The Ottomans were no longer just a tribe, they were a state with an army capable of challenging Byzantium itself. Orhan's reign also marked the first steps toward crossing into Europe. The Ottomans captured Gallipoli in 1354 after an earthquake weakened the Byzantine fortress there. This foothold on the European side of the Dardanelles would later become the staging ground for centuries of expansion into the Balkans. By the end of Orhan's reign in 1362, the Ottomans had expanded across northwestern Anatolia, consolidated control over key trade routes, established Bursa as a political and cultural center, set the stage for future European campaigns. Beyond warfare, Orhan worked to institutionalize governance. He appointed judges, qadis, administrators, and tax collectors to oversee newly conquered territories. Trade flourished, and artisans and scholars were welcomed into Ottoman cities, creating a culture of prosperity and learning. Religious life remained central. Mosques, madrases, schools, and charitable foundations were established, integrating Islam into both governance and daily life. Orhan's policies combined Osman's vision with practical administration, transforming a frontier tribe into a stable state capable of enduring the trials of war and diplomacy. By the time Orhan passed the mantle to his son Murad I, the Ottoman Principality was no longer a small tribal confederation. It had evolved into a regional power, ready to challenge Byzantium and expand into the Balkans. Osman's dream of a growing empire was now a tangible reality, and the stage was set for the Ottomans to become one of the most formidable empires in history. The combination of vision, military innovation, diplomacy, and governance ensured that the seeds planted by Osman would grow into something that endured for over 6 centuries, shaping the fate of Europe, Asia, and Africa alike. From a wandering tribe on the Anatolian frontier to a principality with the tools of statecraft, the Ottomans' rise under Osman and Orhan demonstrates that empires are built not just with swords, but with vision, strategy, and the ability to inspire loyalty. The world would soon see that the dreams of one man could echo for centuries, reshaping continents, conquering cities, and rewriting history.